Hey everybody, welcome back to Mini Mondays, third episode. We're having a lot of fun with these. This week, we're going to be painting the Games Workshop Middle-earth strategy battle game models of Eowyn and Merry from the end of Return of the King. But before that, I'm going to be finishing off one of the Galadriel models that we were painting in the last episode. The guy with the banner. I don't know if you remember. We kind of left the banner completely, and that's what we're going to start off with before we head on to Eowyn and Merry. Okay, let's get all set up. For those who, I should say, while I'm getting things set, for those who haven't watched this before, we are basically, it's a chill mini painting stream. It would go as long as we need to, until we get to the point where feel fairly happy with what's going, the progress we've made and whatnot, and that's the idea. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so as I said, we're going to be starting. Let me find the in focus point. There we go. It's a little bit closer than I thought meant it to be. Starting with this guy who we started last week, but we've left the banner, as you can see. And I'm going to be doing it in sort of whites and greens, I think, make it sort of stand out. I've noticed as well, I forgot to do the sort of tip of his spear last time, so maybe we'll do that as well. But the main thing with this guy, I think, is the banner is really going to make it sort of a bit more complete. I'm still pretty happy with how it's, where's the focus point? There's like a tiny sliver of place where I can have the model and it be in focus. But We'll do my best to keep it in focus while I'm painting. What brush shall we start with? I don't want anything too big. I'm basically going to be starting with a kind of grey base coat to work up to the white. Plus we have the added bonus of my webcam is actually visible this week. That was a bit of a problem last time. Okay, so starting with the Administratum Grey. Oh, and try not to break the model while I do it as well. You know what? And also, what I forgot to do is put music on. So, as always, it's a playlist of my own music. To avoid copyright strikes and such. And as I say, as always, let me know in the chat if audio levels and everything is fine. This isn't a great one to start on. I have forgotten to retweet my link. So let's do that before I forget anything. Alrighty. Okay, so here is this guy. We are going to start with a little bit of Administratum Grey. Needs a bit shaking up. Because they always do. Not going to need a lot. Just bring my water down. Which I will 100% probably knock over, spill into my computer, ruin my whole setup. Which I would say would be fun for you guys to watch, but it'll probably, if that happens, stream will immediately die. So let's maybe not do that. I hope you're all having a good Monday so far. I mean, so far it's 9 o'clock at night. Well, good Monday wherever you are. So I'm just going to fill in all of the kind of fabric with the grey, because I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to work up to the white and then pick out the greens from there, to kind of give the greens a kind of light base. Because getting into the sort of gaps in between the details to do the white, if I've already painted them green, is going to be an absolute nightmare that I don't want to do. So better to go and do the details last. We'll get the base coat kind of blocked in. This looks just pretty white on the screen, I might realise, but this is a grey. It's a light grey. But There's the symbol on this banner is basically the Green Lantern thing, and I am going to be painting it green as well, so that's a little unintended crossover there between Lord of the Rings and DC Comics. I did briefly read Green Lantern, but I've kind of stopped reading comics just in general recently. It's just, I mean, I never got them as they were coming out. It was always trade paperbacks, but yeah, in quite a while. So, and I was mainly an X-Men guy, and yeah, I'm probably about 5 years behind with X-Men. I think I've even got some unread trade paperbacks, come to say it. Sat on a desk somewhere in the house that I bought. I was like, yeah, I'll get caught up, and then I just didn't. It was a bit of a waste of time and money. Because at a certain point, it just feels like I'm way too far behind. This banner is actually a little flimsy. I kind of wish it was a bit more sort of sturdy, but I do like the detail work. That's going to come in. Going to look quite nice once it's done. Well, I've already made a mistake. So I've got the grey onto the wood of his spear. Trying very hard not to get it onto any of the bits we've already painted, because I don't want to have to touch those up later. There we go, that's most of it. So the hardest part comes now. So, let's see if I can get this. You can see the sort of bits where the banner is meant to be wrapping around the sphere. So this is spear, not spear, not sphere. This is really where I'm going to screw it all up. You know what, I think it's going to be easier if I just don't worry too much about this and go back in after the fact and retouch up the brown. Okay, it's not a terrible base coat. Hey, Aiden. Oh, and thank you so much for the Prime sub. You're my first subscriber. Hope you're having a good evening. Starting off with finishing up one of the guys we were doing last week. I didn't do the banner. Let me find that. In focus sweet spot, where is it? Oh, yeah, that's as good as it's going to get. So yeah, I didn't do the banner last week. We're doing the grey. We're going to highlight it up to white. And then the details are going to be in more sort of greens and things. Because there's a lot of nice detail work on this. Yeah, I saw you were looking at that earlier. That, what's it called? Every 90s advert. I'd totally forgotten about that video. Was it Liquid Blast? Classic. To classic, it's what? How many? 4 or 5 years old now? Just choosing which brush to switch to for the whites. Let's go with this one. Yeah, it's exactly the kind of... it was like a perfect parody, and then just the horror. At some point, I'm really going to need to scrape off this plate that I've been using as a palette for the last 5 years or whatever. It's so thick on there in some of these places. Perfectly nailed, like the advert, like perfectly nailed, like how all those like Saturday morning like Sunny D kind of ads were. Like, hey kids, try these new, turkey Twizzlers or whatever, the sort of the 90s heyday of like crazy sweets and food, which is probably cancer inducing. So this is mainly going to be white, this bit. Still want to keep a little bit of grey in the kind of some of the recesses. A lot of stuff I was only on YouTube as part of a big hour-long. Yeah, I mean, how do you get around that? I mean, without sort of ripping the whole video, I guess. And just make a note of a bunch of sort of time codes, I guess. I do realise there's not a lot to look at with me painting white onto grey, so I do apologise for the slow start to the stream here. White onto grey, flattened by my overhead lighting and the the compression on the stream, so not the best start. Yeah, it's one of those things that as I go, it looks real sloppy, and then I take a step back after a couple of coats. It's like, oh, that looks actually like, fabric. So it's coming together. The tricky bit on this comes in a minute, where I'm going to be picking out these details with other colours and without smudging the white, basically. So for now we're just kind of trying to get in between them and have it make it look like it's still the white cloth without losing some of the shading. On that top edge as well. I'm dreading doing all this and then having to sort of go in and tidy up the brown on the sphere as well. Spear. I keep saying sphere. The drown on the spear as well. Drown. I can't even talk today. It's going well. Just having a bit of a weird day, really. Like, I didn't get to sleep till super early hours. Like, I think I heard my mum getting up when I was going to bed, basically. Then I had a dream that I was in a collapsing house and was being hunted by some weird people. It's odd. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't tired when I got up, but it was one of those ones where I woke up and I was like, well, that was a bit vivid. Yeah, this is coming together. Right, let's do the other side before I attempt to do the little bits. How is the audio level, by the way, Eden? Because I've got my speakers turned down, and I can't really hear what I'm actually playing so much. Just turn those up. Because as much as last week I said, oh, I'll make a note of where all the levels are, I did not. So I took a best guess. This is a quite quiet track anyway. So I've got to sort of make a bit of a compromise here. Let me sort of... like, this is... How about this one? I mean, this is going to be a little bit louder. Just about finding the balance, really. Yeah, okay. I will leave it as is, then. Just want everything to be audible, really. Yeah, this white is... I'm not doing as great a job as I would like, really, with this. Problem with white is it never covers well, and the so we end up having to do multiple coats. It looks okay from a distance, I suppose. That's all I can hope for, I really think with this one. We're obviously doing it as well as I can, but... Getting in kind of the crevices while still leaving the grey on this is quite tough. Because I'm going to be going over the raised sections, so it's going to sort of pick it out a bit, but also sort of want to have it look like shading rather than just poor paintwork is a tough ask. Right on, dude. Well, tell them good luck from me, I guess, in the chat. I'm pretty sure my connection won't handle also streaming that while I'm streaming this. So my eyes are not great. That's going to need a little bit of tidying up around the spear there. See, I even said it properly that time, but that is not too bad. Adding in another layer of white to these sort of little bits and pieces, but overall, that looks okay. The next step is going to be the greens are just on the high sort of raised areas and things. So let's find a green colour that works. I know what I'm like, so I'm going to put the lid on that. Right. So just preemptively moving stuff so I don't knock it over. Now then, where are my greens? Ooh, that's kind of a foresty green. So, Laurel Forest. Oh, there we go. Where's the sweet spot? There we go. I think we're going to work up to, if I've got a lower one, darker one as a base. I hope I do, because I've got to do some more greens later, and I definitely going to need a darker base. It's a black. We'll get the black out anyway, just in case we had to mix it. Low Belcher, that's not the one. What is that? Castellan green. It's kind of a base. It's sort of a browny one. Could have sworn I had another one though. Oh, and I've got super light moot green. I'll put the Castellan brown on and the Lauren brown and we'll see how it looks. That said, I am just going to quickly run to the bathroom. I will be back in 10 seconds. I'll leave you with the music. apologies for that. We're back, ready to go. Okay. Hopefully then the white should have dried on that. I am going to start with this Castellan green, just to pick out the details, then we're going to highlight up. I think I might go up to the really high moot green light layer. I'll just see how they work, see how they look. So just shaking up, it's a brand new pot of paint. Yeah, that's a little darker than I'm going to want to end with. Not eating paint, just, you know. Okay. Well, that's not bad as a base layer. We're definitely going to be using more of this later on in the stream. Okay. So really just like super thin strokes on the, you know, I'm actually going to switch to a different brush now. As soon as I say that, looking down at the brush thinking, oh, it's, you know, that's too much. I have a slightly thinner brush. Always wet your brush with saliva, for I'm a goblin. Need to try and keep this in frame as well. I knew that was going to happen. I need to restart the camera software. It has a hard limit. No. I looked into this in the last week, and there we go. Because of some sort of law about cameras not being sold as video cameras, there's like a hard limit of half an hour of how long you're allowed to do live view shooting before the camera like sort of turns itself off. And the only way I could see to get around that was by installing some like third-party firmware, which it didn't look dodgy, but I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't want to like brick my camera because it cost me quite a chunk. You know, just when, or I could instead just have to do that every half hour or so, you know. Because I do quite like my camera, and I don't want to brick it. There is an annoying, tiny little flick at the end of this brush. So I'm going to cut off. Hey Dragon, welcome along. You can see there's an annoying little flick there. See, it's sort of against the dark background and it's catching paint. There we go, now it's a point again. Hey Steve Boost, welcome. Hope everybody's having a good evening today. In case you missed the start, we are finishing off the banner on this guy that we started last week. And I'm trying real hard not to screw up all the white paint I just put on it. The worst part is I have to do this several times to get it up to the shade I want it to. You can already see I've screwed it up a little bit there, but I will have to go back and just touch that up. If I can get it as well as I can before going back and fixing things, that it's all a bit easier. I really love the detail on this, but it's kind of like a twisting vine pattern, and it's quite tricky to do. That was a good move, cutting the end off that brush there, because it all stayed together. A little water on the brush, don't need that. There we go, that's the water problem. I really love. I knocked this track out in 1/4 hour. I set up 3.5 minutes of drums. Did one track of guitar and then matched it with a bass, and they're like, that'll do. It's only going in the background while people are talking. Probably the quickest bit of music I've written for the podcast as well. You know what? I'm just looking at this now, and there's this kind of raised area that the vines and the design are on. I'm wondering whether to do that in like a yellow to make things even more complicated for me, just picking that out. But that might look quite good. Yeah. Because this is looking kind of sloppy at the moment. And, yeah, it could do with being a lot... something to make it sort of stand out, I think. I'm going to do the designs on the other side, and then I'm going to come back and do that on yellow. Then we're going to go up to a lighter green on the top. I really do apologise. I should have put my phone on silent. That is work chat. That is nothing to do with me. The detailing on the back side here is actually more... it's slightly nicer. I don't know. It's not a lot different, but it sort of seems a bit more compact. Yeah, the yellow is going to look good on this, actually. So I'm going to stop with the green and come back to it. We're not going to go... We're going to keep it fairly subtle, because I want this to be quite a light banner. But, yeah. Something just to break up all the white on it, I think. Oops, skip this so I don't get DMCA'd. Just forget to remove that from the playlist. Kind of golden yellow, that'll do. I'll get the other one out as well. There's one that's a bit brighter. Real yellow. I'll see how they look on the model. Apologies for the extreme close-up of my arm. Oh, that's starting to dry up. Lucky we don't need a lot of it. So this is kind of like a sunset sort of yellow, and I'm really just going to be kind of filling in some of the gaps here. Over the white, it's going to look quite good. Where is it? Where's the in focus sweet spots about there? Yeah. So I probably should have come up with a bit more of a concrete plan for this banner before I started painting it, to be honest. But hey, there we go. That's how I do things. I will say the yellow is a bit warmer than it looks on camera. The white balance is slightly off. That sort of raised section, it hasn't really got a left edge to it, which is a problem, because it's going to look sort of slightly sloppy, but... I could take it all the way down this side, just sort of to the bottom, and have the edge be where that kind of flappy bit sort of comes off of it. Yeah, that's going to look okay, I think. Yeah. It does mean I'm going to have to go back through and re-pick out those extra bits, but what I'm also going to do is the sort of edging around this bit here, I am going to go back over with white, because I want that to have a kind of white, the sort of square design. I'm going to keep white, and it needs tidying up, but I'm going to do the green highlights first on that, so then I can just go back in and do that. Right, and we are going to highlight this yellow as well, because it's a little warmer than I would like. It's a nice colour, but I don't know if it really fits this. Well, it's good as a base coat. Then we'll layer up to the next level of white that I've got. Already on the front there, yeah. Cool, that's coming together. Sorry, there's not a lot of talking at this bit. This is some detail work is always like use all the brain sort of thing. Okay, I'm fairly happy with how that looks. So I'm going to pick out the highlights in green then. Oh no, I'll highlight the yellow first, then I'll do the green, and then we'll just tidy up the white sections. As always, it's never a solid plan. So this is another yellow I haven't actually opened to see if it hasn't dried up yet, so this might go. This might be a bit tricky to work with. I don't even remember buying it. It means it's been a while. Oh, that's not dried up, but it's, yeah. Should be okay. You know what? I should bring up my Twitch dashboard because I'm not 100% sure. Because somebody who's been watching, just as a test, you'll see that now I'm affiliate. You can spend AJ Funbucks, which is what I've called the the points. I don't know if those come through on Streamlabs. Can somebody try like redeeming 100 points for the drink action or something just to see what happens? Because I don't know if it's going to show up on Streamlabs. There we go. Okay, that's cool. That was a test. And yes. Oh, 2 drinks. Oh, and hey, Zephy. Thank you for using your points on making me drink. Okay. Good to know that it does show up on Streamlabs. Ah, 3. Jeez. This is a good way of testing everybody's stream lag as well. Okay, that's a good test. Because I tend to not have the Twitch dashboard open when I'm streaming. I just have OBS Streamlabs. And it shows me the chat and things, but I wasn't 100% sure it would show me those, so that's good to know. Means I don't need to start having Twitch dashboard open as well. The coverage on this yellow is pretty terrible, I will say. It's really not sort of covering the way I would like it to. Although it is usable, it's just not great. That really doesn't look... It's a lot warmer in... My white balance is way off on this camera at the moment. I don't know what's gone on here. Yeah. As always, I'll put high-res photos up after the stream. On my Twitter and on the Pretending with Dice Discord channel. I'm in the annoying situation here where the front of the banner is so much worse than the back of the banner. The back of the banner, every time I turn it over, it's like, yeah, more detail, more stuff, and... Ugh. The paint job I've done on the back's already better than the one on the front. As always with the stream and with my life in general, the theme is hating what I'm doing and then after the fact being fairly happy with it. It's drawing on the brush, I don't want that. And there's water on the brush, we don't want that. Actually kind of happy with that on the back there. Right, let's do the green highlights. Although, don't know if that's dry enough on the front, maybe. But we're done with the yellow. So as I spill it everywhere. I'm not going to bother with the Castellan green because it's too dark. It's barely worth it. Gonna skip to the Lauren green, see how that looks, and then maybe we'll do the moot green, which is like super bright and vibrant. This Lauren green is quite camo-y. I do like it. We're going to end up using both of the darker greens later on. Once we got this out of the way, we're going to be switching models to doing the Merry and Pippin set, and for that I need greens and reds and things. So yeah, just wanted to get this one out of the way and done, because otherwise it'll sit on my shelf unfinished for years. That is not an exaggeration. It's a bit more visible as actually being a green compared to the other one, which is good. But I am going to have to go for the vivid one, I think. Eden, are you enjoying the founder first badge that you now get next to your name in chat? For being a first early subscriber. Oh, I was just saying, are you enjoying your the first next to your name in chat now for being the an early adopting subscriber of the channel? This is very, very tough going, this. There you go. And you've highlighted the message as well. Can lord it over everyone in confidence. Hey Sharona, welcome along. Hope you're having a good Monday. It's going to look good when I highlight up to the light one. At the moment, that looks sloppy as hell. But, yeah. Overall, I've done a really terrible job with this. So, I'm glad you're all here to watch me do it. I give it within the next 5 minutes, the camera's going to turn itself off again. Speaking of, and based on where my hand is, I'm going to tilt it down slightly. Just finding that comfortable spot for where I'm usually holding the model when I'm painting it. There we go. That's more like it. Even though it's not 100% in focus. There we go.
You're all clear, kid. Now
Hey, thank you so much for this. I can't even talk. Thanks for subscribing, Sharona. You, like Eden, now get a fancy first founder's badge next to your name, and my thanks. Ground floor. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. You had a front row seat to watching me ruin very expensive models. Too much paint on the brush there. It's caking itself up around the edge there. Not great. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Eden and I both sorted out our affiliate stuff in the last week or so. It's yeah. Although, if I'm right in thinking, Eden, you were past the threshold quite a while back, whereas I'm just over the threshold from Saturday's Tomb Raider stream. So yeah, truly ground floor. This is my first affiliate stream as well, so this is yeah. Told you the camera would turn itself off. I'm just gonna finish this one bit, and then we'll be back to you. Every time with this damn camera, I have to do it. I have to close the software, basically. Switch modes on the camera. Switch modes back, and then reload the camera software. Because this is not meant to be done in this way. What's next after Tomb Raider? I was thinking I might start the 2013 Tomb Raider. Oh, it's not liking that. Oh, okay. Have to fully turn the camera off and back on again. There's got to be a better way. There must be a better way. And now there is. And it's called buying a different camera. Yeah, I think I'm going to start 2013 Tomb Raider probably on Saturday. Continuing our Saturday afternoon Tomb Raider streams. I might start it before that. Because I am off work this week. There we go. But we'll see how we get on. I've got a couple of things on this week, so I'm not actually free every evening. We'll see how we do. See how we do though. I do enjoy the Tomb Raider series. And I think it would be good to jump from the original to the remake to sort of like see where we got to, kind of thing. And I do want to replay the 2013 one before I jump into the sequels to that, because I don't think I've ever completed the 2013 one. I've started it like 3 or 4 times, at least 3 times, and then as always I get distracted by other stuff. I did enjoy it though when I played it, except the PS2 one. I don't see. I had the original, as I've said a few times while playing it, when I was like 9, but we never had any of the other original ones. I didn't buy another Tomb Raider game until the 2013 one, and then I never completed it. And then I went back and rebought on Steam all the old ones, but I've not played them. Just throw them on the Steam unfinished games pile, basically. Those are finally actually starting to look a bit like vines, which is good. Ooh. Just tidy that up a little bit, then we'll go into the upper highlight on that. Lighter highlight, I should say. Which was the PS2 one? Because I must have it, I just don't know which one it is. There we go. See, that back edge is looking much better than the front edge. It's annoying. I might give this green another go on here. I think there's just a few kind of detail spots where it's sort of dragging, the eye gets drawn to them and it's sort of dragging the whole thing down. Angel of Darkness. Ah, okay. Bits cut out for times there's weird bits that make zero sense. Maybe we'll go back. Maybe we'll play 2013, then we'll go back to do Angel of Darkness and just see the high points and the low points. So this is that weird kind of ukulele banjo-y cover of is it called Pretty Woman? Yeah, Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison that I did for background music for when Jason's character was going on that date in Shadowrun. I don't know why I was like, yeah, let's play some weird ukulele covers to be sort of like, oh, it's light and sort of to really contrast the grim cyberpunk yet endorse it dystopia that Eden had built for us. I was like, hey, here's a ukulele cover of a song from the 50s/60s. I don't know why I make certain music choices sometimes. Usually it's because it's like 2 a.m. and I was just like, oh, this will be funny. And then it comes out and I put it in the edit at like a regular time and I go back and listen to it. I'm like, what? This is an odd choice. What was 2 a.m. AJ doing? Two a.m. AJ can't be trusted to make good decisions on anything. Well, I mean, they always work out, but like they're always odd and weird at the time. Later, Zephyros, thanks for hanging out. Thank you for the drink, because, I do actually forget. Hey, what was the spelling again? I've got it on here. Dascha. Dasha. So I remember having to email you or whatever and be like, I think probably when I was writing the names for these tracks, or either that or the description for the episode, being like, mate, how do I spell this? That's looking quite good, actually, now. It's coming together. This is just going to be sort of bits and then tidying up job after tidying up job, I think. Like, as it gets closer to being finished, seeing which bits... Oh, wow! Jason, wow. Thank you so much for giving out the gift subs, and welcome along. Hope you're having a good night.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Thank you so much. What up, man? That's awesome. I hope you're having a great Monday.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
You guys get to hear the same clip of Han Solo over and over again. Covering my face. Yeah, man. What an entrance. Blowing into the place and blowing the doors off.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
And claiming the #1 gifting thing. Thank you so much for the congrats and everything, man. Like, yeah. I think that's all of that. We've had 5 lots of that. Oh no, 6. Here we go. Still going. But wow, yeah. I say, what an entrance. Thank you so much, man. Hope you're having a great night. We are starting off, if you've just tuned in, we are finishing off this Dude with a Banner that we did most of last week by doing the banner. And I'm doing a pretty terrible job of it. So that's a great moment to do that. Where's the in focus point? It looks terrible on the front. It's starting to look a little better on the back. And then we're just going to be a lot of tidying up. Then we're going to be painting, or at least making a start on the Merry and Pippin models. But we're getting there. It's going to be one of those things where I'm just going to be like doing a little bit, then tidying up, and yeah, with this lighter green, it's really starting to come together. Again, I think I'm going to need to tidy up the yellow around some of these bits. And as always, it looks better in real life than elsewhere, but yeah.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Oh, man. Steve is gifting a tier 1 sub. Back to Jason. It's all... Oh, you guys put me in such a good mood with this. What a great start. I just feel bad that it's in the backdrop. The backdrop of it is me really fucking up a very overly expensive piece of plastic. I don't know why that's real funny to me, but thank you so much. Like, I'm feeling the love from you guys, and in the foreground, I'm just like looking at it going, oh god. Just making mistake after mistake on this model. It's quite funny. It's just a weird juxtaposition. while various bits of ominous music that I've written for the podcast play in the background. It's quite an odd, yeah. This is an odd vibe, yeah. That's looking okay. Oh, it's all good, man. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks so much for gifting the subs and that. I need to email you about something, or at least send you a message or something the next day or so. So I will talk to you in the week. It's Monday today. I'll talk to you in the next day or so. Have a good one, man. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a good night. So yeah, okay. Before I go on to the front side of the banner, I'm going to point out what I'm going to do to tidy this up and make it look good. I mean, this looks okay. This back side of the banner looks okay. What I'm going to do, I actually think I'm going to, the bits sort of around the square bits, I'm going to pick out in white, just to bring that colour back in. I'm going to tidy up some of these yellows that I've gone over with, or maybe haven't filled in quite as much as I would like, but other than that, this back side of it is looking quite good to me. I may do another coat of this light green. Now that it's drying a little bit darker. There we go. Now it's in focus-ish. I like this macro lens pack, but it's there's a tiny amount of area where stuff's actually in focus. So I'm going to do another coat of that, I think. Looks okay there, but like to my eye, it's drying a little darker than I would like. So I'm going to go over those again first. Then I'm going to tidy up the yellow. Then we're going to switch to the front. No. Tidy up those. Do the greens on the front. Then tidy up the front as well. Yeah. I vaguely know what I'm doing, even if I'm not doing very good at it. I feel like that should be kind of my motto. I vaguely know what I'm doing, even if I'm not very good at it. So trying to keep this in focus as well. Okay, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'll say I am happy with it now. It's come together, and there's a couple of little sloppy bits that are letting it down, and again, they look way worse on the camera than it actually does in real life, to be honest. But yeah, a couple of little bits here and there that I feel like are letting it down to my eye, but we can fix them. Okay, onto the front. That's already looking better. I have a plan, it's just not great. It's just, yeah. A for planning, C for execution of the plan. I think is my general vibe. Too much on the brush there. That's really coming together, actually. It's really improving it. Yeah, that looks good. Ish. Again, a couple of bits to tidy up, and that's going to look really good, I think. Quite happy with that. That's really improved things. I still think it's a bit vibrant compared to the model itself. So I'm actually thinking I might do a different highlight of yellow. I'll take the lighter highlight, I'll mix a little bit of bone into it to just sort of mellow it out a little bit and lighten it up. And we'll go from there. Because it's just a bit bright for me, if you know what I mean. Like, the yellow sort of stands out a bit too much. It looks like it's from a different model. I'm very happy with this track of music. Hopefully you guys can hear it. I am going to tweak a couple of bits on it, but we're going to be using it a lot more coming up soon. This is what I wrote for the Star Trek one-shot we did last year. Just want to tweak the brass sound on it and make it a bit bigger sounding. Yellow. I don't think that's a spoiler. I have announced that we're doing a Star Trek thing. If not, we're doing a Star Trek thing. Soon. Coming soon to a podcast near you. This shade that I'm mixing up is really not what I was going for. I want it more bone than yellow, I think. It's getting there. Put just a dab of white into it as well. Oh, there we go. That's really sickening. Again, A for planning, C for execution of the plan. We'll see how it looks on the model. That's not a clean brush. Well. There you go. It's a slightly less vibrant yellow, which kind of what I'm doing. Right on, Steebis. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good one. Oh, and thank you for. Hope work isn't too bad for you tomorrow. You don't have to blow all your points tonight. The points carry over. But I do appreciate being told to drink. Not only is this not a great song, I'm not really a fan of this re-record that I did. Oh well. Too late now, I should have stopped myself 8 years ago. It's proper like baby's first angsty teenage lyrics. Okay, let's dial it down a little bit. I might do. I might just do another little bit with more bone in it. Again, it's not looking as warm on the camera as it does in real life. I'm fairly happy with how it's looking, really, but just do another mix on it to put a bit more of a lighter shade on it again, a little bit less yellowy, more kind of. I want to keep a little bit of yellow, but I want it to really have kind of like a dull sort of fabricy edge rather than a bright sort of thing, because this is meant to be like Lothlorien elves. It's not like, you know, they're in the waning of their years or whatever the lore is and that. But yeah, I say that as if I don't know. I haven't just read Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean, though. Yeah. Okay, this is mostly bone. I'm still leaving a bit of the other yellow kind of in the crevices and such, but yeah, that's actually looking. That's much closer to what I wanted when I started the yellow. See if I can. I'll just adjust my light down because I think it's getting blown out by the camera. You can try and get a bit of a closer view on. Yeah, that's a bit closer visually to how it looks to my eye, but I'm obviously painting with the light all the way up, so I can actually see. No, it seems odd to sort of do like a vibrant yellow and then bring it back to like a less vibrant thing, but some of it is shining through. It's a sort of cumulative effect, and it's sort of, yeah. Okay, yeah. Fairly happy with that. Like from a distance, that I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now then is just pick out the whites on the edge of the cube here, and I think I'm going to be in a place where I'm fairly happy with this model, which was meant to be just like, hey, we're just going to quickly finish this off before we do other things. But we've already been going hour and 35 minutes, so shows how long these things take. I don't think we're going to do all of the Merry and Eowyn stuff this stream, but we will get a good start on some of it. Probably approaching there we go. I was literally about to say we're probably approaching the time when the camera turns itself off, and it did it. So I'm getting used to that. It's annoying, but yeah, timing. And it never starts with the live view on, and it always... I then have to go and adjust stuff in... There's no good way of doing it, essentially, so... yeah. There we go. Right. Just a bit of... tiny little bit of white paint just to pick out these bits. There's definitely paint on that. Fine, nothing wrong with eating paint. Certainly doesn't mean no harm. I did just realise I didn't actually paint the green on this side on the circular bit, but it still looks okay. I ought to do it though. Sorry, hanging my head too close to it, so and the cameras are not close enough. Now I've got the white paint out, I'm just giving another bit to some of these bits of the banner so I can see where it didn't cover very well. Maybe why it was looking a bit sloppy to me. Really helps if I talk into the microphone as well, doesn't it? Just giving the banner another couple of hits of white in places. Okay. Steady hands, strained eyes. That's the way it goes. Okay. I'm going to touch up the... I'm going to put the green on the kind of ring bit in the central bit there that I forgot, and then I think we're pretty much going to be there with this. Right after I tidy up where I'd just gone over the lines with the... onto the sphere. Spear! I don't know why I keep saying sphere. The mediocre Dustin Hoffman movie. Was he in that? It was in Sphere. Sorry, didn't mean to hit my camera there. I think Dustin Hoffman was in Sphere. We'll find out. Hey Google, was Dustin Hoffman in Sphere?
Sphere is a 1998 film directed by Barry Levinson, starring Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman, and Samuel L. Jackson.
There we go. Samuel L. Jackson. Wow. Good to know. I wonder if that holds up. I never had it. I think I rented it from. It wouldn't have been Blockbuster. It would have been Choices. But I don't remember it making much of an impact on me. But I don't remember it being terrible. see where that's streaming. I've definitely watched it. I just can't remember what it's about or anything. I know that underwater and there's a sphere. And that's about as much as I can remember. But I also, like, someone who hasn't watched it could know that just by looking at the poster. So, yeah. Some of these early guitar solos are... I mean, it's not awful, but like, okay, I realise I'm getting very self-conscious that this stream is just me complaining about stuff that I'm doing, you know, whether it's painting or my music or whatever, but, you guys knew what you were getting in for. Right, I'm going to stop there before I ruin it. But that is looking much better. And to my eye, it looks better in real life than on the camera. But it does show just how dark the paint job was we did last week on the actual guy himself, though. Sort of, yeah, it's quite striking. I mean, it's not dark, but it just in comparison, it's quite striking. Right, I'm going to tidy up the brown on his spear, not sphere, and then we're going to move on to Merry and Eowyn. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's the one I used. I really didn't mean for it to take this long to do this bit of work, but I'm glad we did it. And without even being told to by you guys, I'm going to take a drink. So this is really just a tiny job here. We're just tidying up where I got the white paint onto the brown wood sections. God, I think I just got some on the yellow. I'm not going to do any more on that. That is pretty close to being okay to me, which is about as good as you're going to get of a compliment to myself. I think what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to give the whole spear another coat. It's quite dark. It's a very brown model. But they are meant to be woodland elves, so hey. There we go. One pretty well there, dude. There's a couple of little extra details. I'm not going to do those on stream. Like I need to do the metal on the top of the spear. I was going to do a wash and a highlight on the red section. I'm not going to do that now. Yeah, there's a couple of extra little bits and pieces I could do here and there, but not worth streaming. So let's move on. I'm just going to put him back in the display case. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how that banner has turned out. Even if it sort of does throw into relief just how dark the rest of the model is. Okay, so we have the Merry and Pippin set. Now, no, it's not Merry and Pippin, it's Merry and Eowyn. This is 3 models. We have mounted Eowyn with Merry on her lap on the way to the fields of the Pelennor. So there's a lot to do on that one. And separately, we got Merry on his own on foot after being knocked off by the Witch King, with a mediocre priming job done on it, but that, hey, you know, it was windy today and I was trying to do prime with a spray paint. And Eowyn on foot after she's facing down the Witch King, which again, mediocre priming job, but it does the job. I'm going to bring up the studio image so I've actually got a bit of a guide and we can choose which bits to start with. Eowyn and Merry, there we go. So there's a lot of greens and browns, there's some reds on the armour, metal bits, gold on the helmet. I haven't really painted any Rohan people so far. I'm thinking though, what we're going to do, we're going to start... Trying to look at cloak colours. Yeah, Mary's is more of a kind of grey thing. They've got different colour cloaks, but in general there's a lot of greens. So that might be a good place to start. There's a lot of greens, a lot of browns, and not a lot of kind of like black sections left. So it's going to be like there's darkness in the shadows, but yeah, I could be showing you guys actually, couldn't I? Window capture. Where is it? It's not even letting me. Okay. Yeah, there's some stuff to be done. So I would like to maybe start with the mounted one because I feel like we could make a lot of progress on that. While I've got my brown paint out, I actually might do a base coat on the horse. To be honest, is a good starting point. Because that was what I was quite conscious of when we were doing the Aragorn model back in the first episode, way back in the heady days of 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago even, as he was on just like a primed horse for the whole stream, and I had to do a completely separate stream where I actually finally had the brown to do it. So we're going to start with the we're just going to start with the horse, I think. Same brown. And we're going to do brown, highlight layer, wash. Looking at the guide, it's one of those horses with kind of like a white stripe down the front of its face. So I'm going to attempt to do that as well. We're going to do that in a bone colour before the wash and then pick it out in white after the fact. So, but it being an animal, I don't want to leave any kind of black in the crevices when it comes to the shading on this. We're really going to lean into the wash, doing a lot of heavy lifting with the shading. I don't mind leaving black in crevices on armor pieces and such. But when it's a living thing, it just doesn't really look right. This is a fairly thick coat, really. I'm just base coating this, really. This, I believe, is actually the first plastic model that we've painted on stream. The rest have been either resin or metal. And it's weird how the paint does seem to go on a little differently. It's not weird, it's, you know, makes sense, but... It's back in the day when I first started doing Games Workshop stuff, when I was, oh, how old was I? Not that old. Still living with my dad, so... 10, I want to say. It was all plastic or metal, and the model sculpts were god awful. But that's all we had, and I couldn't paint then anyway. You know, I wasn't very good. Arguably, I can't paint now, but. Remember to do the inside of the legs as well. So yeah, water actually, this brown colour, it kind of dries a little darker than it goes on, but it's sort of a chestnutty sort of colour. I'm actually going to be highlighting up to, using the same colour, I think. So this is not going to be a particularly light coloured horse. So once we've got the wash on, we're just going to highlight the same colour just on the raised areas, leaving the dark parts the same, as dark as they'll go. Another reason I'm doing the horse first is because it's quite a large area, and if I get a little bit on the more detailed parts of the model, like Merry and Eowyn themselves, after I've painted them, then I'll be annoyed. But if I do it now, it doesn't matter. Not that the horse isn't important, but it's not the focus, you know. Got to make sure I get this in all the places it needs to be. See, I've missed another inside leg there. That is a brown horse. I'll just let that dry. I'm going to put a little, using the bone colour, put a little sort of stripe going down the front of the face, which I'm also going to, this is before the brown wash. Then I'm going to, after the wash, highlight that up to white. Closing down some things so I can see what I'm doing. Right. So yeah, kind of going for like a down the sort of forehead, sort of very small little pattern. I think we've all seen horses like that though, right? With the sort of... Doesn't matter if it's a little bit sloppy as well. Because it's a pattern on the fur. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's say we're going to highlight up to white on that as well. So that's mostly dry. I'll give that a minute. We're going to be highlighting up. Well, no, first we're going to be using Agrac's Earth Shade as a wash. It's kind of like a sort of dirty brown wash. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. Ooh, very nearly broke the model there, moving my hand around. So this one here. Sort of like a kind of dirty, like, yeah, it's just a brown wash, essentially. Ooh. And we're going to be fairly, again, we can be fairly sort of sloppy with putting this on. It's a little bit not so dry there. Okay. It's quite a dark wash as well, but that's good because we want it to kind of go into all the crevices and just give a bit of shading and depth to the model. Because I'm highlighting up as well, I'm not too worried about putting this on quite thickly because I do want it to darken down the lower colour. It's going to look pretty wet while, while it's on as well though. Said on the face I don't want it to wash out any detail either though. But it really does add some, like with the depth in it that it adds, it's really quite good. Like all the little kind of really subtle curves and crevices and stuff on the model. Use crevices for like parts of a horse, but you know what I mean? It just adds like a layer of kind of life to the model. Again, I'm just sort of slopping this on really. I don't want it to get everywhere, into all the gaps. The one thing it does do is it does show you where all the raised areas are as well. Cool. All right. And it's still a bit wet. That's going to take a minute to dry. And then what we'll do, we'll go in and do a slight... It's going to be subtle as hell, but we're just going to use that same base brown colour to highlight back onto just the raised edges on the bits we've done, and then I'm going to use the white to do the head piece. I mean, already, just doing the horse adds, because it's such a large proportion of this model, adds so much to it. Okay, but that's our wash done on that. I am slightly holding off making the choice of which part to start on, really, with regards to other bits of the model, because it's quite complicated. Take a drink while that is drying. I'm also going to preemptively turn the camera off and on again, so it's done. Because we were just about to hit that half hour. Yeah, still a little wet where I was a bit thick with it in some places, and definitely on this side. But I don't want to go breathing on it and blowing it. I want to let it do its work, basically. But yeah, it's getting there. Give that a few minutes. So while that's doing that, actually, while that is drying, let's take a look at the other ones. Where can we start? It's sometimes a good idea to sort of start from the inner out. So what I might do... that's the one I was going to throw out. I'm going to start with the chainmail. Although that said, on the standing Eowyn model, I'm going to start with the chainmail on her. But there's a lot of green on her as well, so we could start with doing the green base coat while that's drying. A cloak and kind of like lower sort of parts of the armour have a sort of green tinge to them. So I think we're going to start with the base Castellan green on the standing Eowyn while the horse's ink bit is drying. It's a nice swirl to the... Where is it in focus? It's a nice swirl to the cloak there. So the cloak as well, I want to sort of add a bit of dirt to it. So I'm going to do the green. I'm actually going to use the Agrax Earth shade on it again. It's going to give us a very different effect on greens. Of sort of making it look like it's sort of been dirtied up a little bit, rather than just like adding shade. I mean, it's going to still add shade, but like... It's going to look like sort of there's dirt in the cracks, there's, you know, crevices, there's sort of... There's been some hard riding going on, you know. Because the cloak is already modelled to have a kind of bit of a raggedy edge around it, so... You know what, actually, instead of using that, I'm going to use the flesh tone wash I have instead. That's going to be a bit more brown and a bit more sort of, yeah, what I'm going for. At least on the bottom of the cloak, to give it a bit of a sort of dirty lower edge, I think. Being careful here, the paint isn't really going on how I would like it to. It's sort of not covering amazingly well, and then it is also leaving brush strokes to really complicate matters. That looks pretty good, actually. In terms of shade, I could do with, I think going up to the Lauren green is going to be good. That's not the super vivid one, that's sort of the next one up. And if that doesn't quite give what we're looking for, we can always add a bit, sort of do a 50-50 mix of the Lauren Green and the Vivid one. I'm just trying to figure out where there's greens on the model. There's also, she's got kind of a green shield. With the horse's design on it. It's a lot of the same green, to be honest, but where it's a kind of different material and different kind of texture to it, we can kind of highlight it in different ways to, and with slightly different shades to sort of bring out different edges and different effects on it. But yeah, there is green on everywhere. Yeah, it's coming together. It's sort of dark camo green, really, that. I think that's kind of all the green areas. I'm just trying to look at the studio picture here. Yeah, because everywhere else is kind of... she's got kind of red armor parts that are similar to Eowyn's. Obviously, I don't have that model to hand. I'm actually going to... I think I've got an old version of it somewhere in the loft. But I actually would rather paint a new version because they have done a completely new sculpt, which does look a lot better than the old one I had. Looking at Mary. Mary's got the similar green bits on the lower parts of his armor and on his shield. So I think I'm going to do that as well. But he has a slightly more grey cloak, which is his one from Lothlorien. So we're going to do his lower sort of armour. It's not really a skirt, it's sort of a tunic. In this green, and then I'm going to mix up a mix actually of this green and a kind of one of the greys to give a sort of like a grey-green base rather than the... to make it sort of stand out as a little different, that's all. Funnily enough, his shield has a lot more decoration than hers does. A lot more ornate decoration, I should say. Which we will get to, but just doing all the greens at the moment. Overall, though, he has a little bit less green on him than she does. He's got kind of like a red armor chest plate, and yeah. So yeah, got his sort of lower tunic-y bit done there, I think. Let's check in on the horse. Actually looks still a little dark, still a little wet to my eye, so it might just be that it's kind of dried shiny. Oh, yeah, I might have just dried shiny. There's a couple of bits. See, there's a bit extra now. I can just work out. It's definitely dry enough to do the highlights on, so we'll do that. It just still looks shiny in the crevices. In terms of the length of this stream, I don't think we're going to go quite as late as we did last week, because last week was just like a marathon. What were we at, like 3 hours 45 or something? So I'm not going to go so late this week. I think I'm going to get to a kind of happy point with these models, really. And then we can come back to them next week. Next week will be part 2 on these models, I think. I'm going to get them to like a good starting point, because I think we spent a bit longer on the banner guy than I originally thought. That's not to say I'm about to stop. We are going to go for a little longer, but Yeah, that's really looking a lot better. It's all about just adding a bit of depth to it. So, yeah, happy with that. The horse's kind of mane as well is kind of like a... It's sort of like a grey, black grey sort of shade. At least in the studio pictures. I want to sort of stick to that if I can. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from doing like a different colour horse completely, but yeah, I'm not going to sit down and midway through plan out different horse colours. Like, it's looking okay. I don't want to lose some of the texturing though. There's probably much better ways of doing this, but I don't know. I think it looks okay. Look at it this way. I'm happier with this horse than I was with the banner earlier. Arm's a bit thick. Now, oh. Now the head. Our feature presentation. So I'm going to the white out and do that sort of patch on the head, but then I think I'll be in a fairly happy place with this horse. Ah, fair enough. I was actually literally about to say, like, is Barry still going with near? But, yeah. The save files are gone. Oh, wow, okay. Not even holding them just in case. Oh, sacrifice to help the next players finish the game. Okay, I didn't know that was a thing. I just thought he was just like, I'm done with it. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. Where's the in focus spot? There we go. It's a vaguely consistent thing with the horse. Got a nice thing where you basically fight the credits, refusing to see the game end the way it did. Okay. I haven't seen Bellry playing near the other day. I don't really know too much about it other than what I saw. Okay. I'm going to leave that horse like it is. I'm fairly happy with it, to be honest. Simple colour, wash, highlight. But yeah, I don't want to overcomplicate things with the horse. Mild panic there that I just shoved a paint brush full of white paint onto my face, but cracking my back there. I've managed to make this setup slightly more comfortable than it was last week. 'Cause last week I was just like crowded round the PC and that, and I've sort of adjusted where my angle is, but still a little uncomfortable. I'm gonna need to refill my drink, I think. Do you guys want the extreme close-up of Pepsi going into a glass? I might as well do. Let's find the sweet spot where you get to see how dirty my glass is. Oh yeah, look at that. Fuck. It doesn't look that bad in real life. It's not just... Ooh, that's the stuff. This is the content we're here for. I do need I was thinking about what emotes to make in Photoshop, and I wondered if I could get away with the Pepsi Man thing, but maybe just like if I could do like a glass full of Pepsi, couldn't I, as like an emote? Oh, it helps if I don't hit the camera itself with my arm. Right, let's reposition the camera again now that. So there we go. Okay. I'm going to go back to the standing Eowyn to work on her cloak. It doesn't need to be a lot lighter than this. I'm just going to do the next green up, and then the shade. And this is only subtly lighter, this one. But it'll look better. Although actually it does look quite a lot lighter on my easel. Not easel. Palette. Yeah, just a nice subtle highlight is really making this look quite good. Yeah, it looks much... Everything always looks different to the eye than my camera. I don't have it really set up quite right. But Yeah. It's looking good. So yeah, that's something to do in Photoshop, I think, is make up a little Pepsi, like I'll model it on my own glass, like a Pepsi glass. That'll be my tier 1 emote, would be the Pepsi glass. Okay, green layers are looking good. And what I'm going to do then, on the cloak, I'm actually going to use the same wash that we used just now on the horse, just to dirty it up a little bit. That's already dry because that's such a subtle layer. This is going to be quite a light, just dusting. I'm not going full slopping it on like I did with the horse, but especially around the bottom areas here. Just get it into the crevices. Just add it's like a layer of dirt basically onto this. I don't want it to dry shiny, so I will end up going over the highlights again. Right. And while that's drying, I'm going to take the same Lauren Forest. We're going to highlight the shield basically in the exact same way, and then I'm going to do a 50-50 highlight of Lauren Forest and white, I think, just on the edges. And then actually, you know what? I might do a black wash on that. I want the greens to look subtly different. I don't want it to be like, hey, here's the sections that I painted green, you know, and it's all the same green. And this really basically just needs to be a dry brush. Because the edging on it doesn't need to be perfect all coloured through. That's why I'm going to do the black wash on it and make it sort of sloppy sort of look to it, because you want it to be a little bit kind of battered and like worn, like it's been, you know, the shield's taken a hit or two. So that's basically the same as the stuff was before. That wash is taking its time to dry, actually. And it's sort of a little bit wet in the crevices. It's the old classic breathe on it to dry it. Whatever. Right. Where is my black wash? There we go. Non-oil. It hides my mistakes. We'll make sure that's actually in the cracks there on the shield, just in between the planks. It's a bit too much of it in some places, really, but... While we're looking at the cloak, I'm going to do like a tiny... I want to do like a dirty brown around the bottom, like it's sort of half green, just a touch of brown into it to make it like nasty kind of mud. And this is going to be fully just a dry brush, like I just want some speckling around the bottom of the cloak. Make sure there's absolutely no water on my brush at all. So it's sort of a bit like an edge highlight really, but just to make it look dirty. Just a real subtle kind of dirtying effect on the bottom of the cloak there. A little bit all over, but mostly on the bottom. I'm pretty happy with that. That looks like a dirty cloak to me. I'm not going to do that on the other bits though. Every bit should look a little different. Hey Bowery, how you doing? Heard you finished near. Welcome along. We are doing good. We're approaching the time when my camera is going to annoyingly turn itself off. But we know it's coming. Right, so I want a real subtle, mostly green with a bit of white mixed in, edge highlights on the shield. Yeah, here you got the, was it true ending? Eden came in and broke the news. I had to have it explained to me because I'm not really, I don't know too much about Nier. All I know is that I've watched you play it, and that's about it. I want to make sure I'm in the in-focus sweet spot here. It's about as close as we're going to get. I'm not trying to be too precious about this because I do want it to look like it's sort of wood. That looks good. This is wood that's taken a knock or two. And the green paint is... There goes the camera. every half an hour without fail. Keeps me on my toes. Lets me know every half an hour how long I've been going, I suppose. Just that every half hour I have to turn the camera back on. I might have gone overboard on that, actually, to be honest. But it does look okay. Still got the green that I wanted. Didn't wrap up the side though, yeah. 30 hours, that's not bad. Good playthrough. Okay. While we've got the white paint out, I'm going to do the horses on that shield design. I do like a long game though. It makes you feel like you got your money's worth. This is a song that I might re-record at some point because I don't like my voice in it, but I feel I can do better with the orchestration, and I like the song itself. And as always, Teresa does an amazing job with her vocals. Yeah, I remember recording this in my old flat with like barely a microphone, and while someone else was playing Guitar Hero on the sofa. It turned out okay. I could definitely do a better solo. Fuck. Oh, this 2007. I released it in 2008. And I just fucked up some of that edge highlight, like a big deal. A lot of it. Like, there's some weird that, like, I didn't double track it very well and things, and yeah, that whole left side of the shield, look, I got white paint on it, and damn it. See if I can remove some. What I'm going to do, I'm I'm just going to redo that. That same green, just over that section. Yeah, trouble is, it's not just one green, it's the green, and then I did a black wash on it, and then I highlighted up. So... I'm going to have to take it all the way back to the base coat. That drying so I can do it. It's always something, there's always a mistake. That's okay. This is this is my tutorial on how to quickly try and fix your mistakes. What was it we said earlier? Should be my motto. A for planning, C for execution. Every time. Okay, that's not terrible. I think I've basically fixed it. I might just do one more edge highlight once that ink has dried. Just to bring it back. But that's looking okay. Annoyingly, I did get some of the wash onto the white, so we have every opportunity to just make the exact same mistake once again in a minute. I'm just going to run to the bathroom. I'm going to leave you guys with the musical stylings of some shit I wrote at 3 o'clock in the morning for the podcast. Enjoy! Going for the world record with these bathroom trips. Yes, black wash. The black ink hides all of my mistakes. Okay. Right. Attempt number 2. That brush is still wet. I really need zero moisture on that. Help if there was some paint on it though as well. Okay, I'm not going to touch that white anymore. I'm just going to mix up a tiny bit extra of that edge highlight. Just to try and bring it back. Make it look as if we never made any mistakes. What mistakes? Look at it, it's fine. Better than I did 20 years ago. Super subtle, but I'm happy with that. Okay, I'm going to leave that because I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah. White's a bit thick on the left side, but I think that's going to look okay in the final, once the rest of the model is done. Okay. Just looking at the time, we're going for 2 hours 45. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed too. This is just plastic, this one as well. Like, normally plastic ones aren't quite so, you know. I mean, look at it, the size-wise. Like, that's my thumb, and that's the model. It's tiny. A lot of detail on that. Yeah, it's a great sculpt. I say fingernails and fingers. It's look, you know, this is a small model. What was I saying? Yes, I think we're going to go till we've been going for 3 hours, so that's basically for another quarter of an hour. And then we'll do part 2 of these models next week. Because we spent way too long painting the banner. I don't know, you might have missed it where you guys were playing near and stuff. Basically spent an hour and 45 of this stream painting this one banner here, which I'm pretty pleased with how it's turned out, but yeah. Took way, I was going to be just like a small thing at the start of the stream and it took way too long. But yeah. Yeah, it turned out well. If you want to see me having like ongoing, like, not panic attacks, but like, what would you say? Self-conscious, like, oh god, I'm fucking this up moments for about an hour, go and watch the VOD. But Yeah, it took a while before I was happy with it. Okay. So for the last bit of this one then, before we kind of get to a convenient sort of place to call it, I'm going to also on this model, I'm going to do all of the sort of metal bits, or at least the base coat on them. And that's shield boss, sword, all the chainmail. There's quite a lot of chainmail. The chest piece is actually a mixture of reds and golds, so I'm not going to do that today. There is some silvering on the helmet, but I'm also going to leave the helmet because I want to do the kind of skin tone. God, if I can even get to it, I don't think I can even get to it, where I've actually got the shield a little higher than the studio model does, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to do the skin tone before I'm going to do that. Stress burst, yeah, we'll call it that. Hit stop. So yeah, I'm going to do all of the metal bits on this, and then we will, yeah. That's what we're going to end with, I think. I might do them on the Merry one as well, actually. He's got a... Well, he's barely got any. His is more kind of... I'll leave the Merry one. All I've done on the Merry one is his green bits and the green on his shield as the base coat. He's got a... I've got to mix up a different... Sorry, let's get that in focus. A more grey-green for his cloak, which I haven't done yet. We're going to do more on that next time, I think. And, of course, the horse I'm happy with, but nothing else on this has been painted at all. We could, I suppose, do the chainmail on the mounted ones as well. We'll see how the time goes as we're going. Because it won't take me long to paint chainmail. Not on a model this size. So, all the metal bits. There's a very rounded end to the sword here, but that's apparently how it's meant to be. Kind of slopping this on, this paint, but we are going to hit it with a black wash before I highlight up to slightly more silvery colour. Yeah, the horse sculpt is really nice, actually. We had fairly straightforward paint job on it as well. Basically, I hit it with a base coat of brown, a dark brown kind of dirty wash on it, highlighted the same brown, and I added the little mark on the forehead. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Where is it? Central. Pretty happy with how that's turned out. It's going to look better when the model's on, the mounted stuff on it's painted as well, but pretty pleased. These have been, I mean, we haven't gotten very far into them, but I'm enjoying these models. A lot of detail in them that I wasn't really expecting from plastics. Okay, so here is moment number 3 or 4 where I could screw the shield up, where I do the shield boss here, but close enough. We're going to hit that with a black wash anyway, so yeah, and then a little bit of a silver thing to it. The only problem I have is the official studio picture, there's an odd angle and I can't see the sword arm pointed towards me. Basically the studio picture is this angle. So So I can't see what colour they got the arm guard or anything. This is a bit tricky, but yeah. I'm going to paint it with silver, not silver, like gunmetal, just to kind of get it out of the way. And you know what? I said I was going to do the skin tone first on the helmet. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. Actually, yeah, forget that. I said that, and that's what I'm still going to do. So, and we'll do that next time. I think I've hit all the metal spots on this actually. No. Let's do the ones on the mounted version. We are at 2 hours 53, so plenty of time. While that's drying, and then I will do a black wash and a silver. So, again, lots of chainmail on here. I'm going to leave all kind of foot straps and things on the horse for now. That's something to do later, I think. Yeah, and all helmets and things I'm going to leave because I'm going to do flesh tones before I do that. Or as it looks like I'm not looking quite at the camera because I'm not. I'm looking at a photo of the studio sculpts. But yeah. Hey, I know we can do our own. We can do our own color scheme, really, but I want to get as close as I can to the correct one. Is that correct? No, the official one. Essentially, this is a swords and chainmail section. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do on that for now, because I'm going to go back and do the helmet and stuff. But it's good to make a bit of progress. Didn't mean to kick the mic stand there, I do apologise. I live by my own rules, Barry. If there's a spearhead that needs painting, I'm not going to hang around. I'm a renegade. So, last thing we're going to do, I think, then, we'll just do the my loose cannon. Give me your gun and your badge. Your paintbrush and your badge. Brush and palette, there you go. Much more like it. Right. Is that dried? That is dried. Okay, I'm going to hit the chainmail on the standing one with a black wash. Where's the in focus bit? Close enough. That's too much. I'm going to wick some of that back out again. I'm all about the subtle paint jobs. Give it a more realistic look. Shield boss. There we go, that looks okay. And it's really just as quick as that, so... Is it dried on there yet? It's a bit tacky. In some places, but... Yeah, that looks really nice with the wash through it. Okay. Final step is going to be just to brush a little bit of silver onto that metal chainmail bit to just all about them edge highlights. For that we have our Runefang steel, which I guess is steel rather than silver, but it looks like silver once you put it on. But it's not going to look out of place with just regular ass fucking Rohan chainmail. This really does need to be just a light dry brush, so I'm just basically nothing on the brush here. That hasn't dried, has it? I'm going to give that a minute. I'm going to take this opportunity to have a drink. Good times. Just staring. It looked like I was just staring off in the middle distance. I remember when all this was fields. But I'm not. I'm looking at my second monitor. Right. How's my tar? My Pepsi Max. It's wonderful. It's great stuff. This wash isn't really dry still. I don't really like drying stuff like this, but need must. Like it's just little bits right in the crevices that it normally would be fine, but I know it's going to get picked up with the brush when I go do a dry brush. Switch to my slightly smaller brush actually for that. This is barely visible, this highlight, to be honest, but it is there. I really wish... I need to go through this playlist and make sure there's only one instance of the Pretending with Dice theme on there, because it's... just keeps popping up, and I like it, but 4 times in this many hours is... it's a bit too many, really. That looks pretty good. Good. Get that on the arm chainmail. It's nice. Don't need a lot on the sword. Sword isn't really the focus here. Okay, I'm going to call that done, because that, not as the whole model, but that detailing on the that actually looks, it's not showing up so well on the camera, but nothing ever does. But yeah, that cloak I really like. With I made it sort of dirty at the bottom there. The chainmail I'm happy with. The shield I'm happy with. Camera's turned off, so what a great point to end. We will pick this up next week, I think, for part 2 of these models. Let me just stop the music. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. This has been a lot of fun. I think that's a neat spot to end there. Thank you so much for the... we had a really great start with this being my first affiliate stream with subscriptions, and Jason with the 5 gift subs and everything. So yeah, thanks so much for hanging out, guys. I'm going to be, I think, Saturday starting Tomb Raider 2013. And yeah, next Monday we're going to come back in with more painting. I'm may do another stream before that. I know we got a podcast recording on Thursday night, but yeah, we might do some more random stuff. I've got a bunch of games installed because I'm still on holiday and my usual working nights are off. I don't know, who knows? Maybe tomorrow night I'll just play something random. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. If you're not already following, hit that follow button right there, and yeah, we'll carry on with these models next time. So yeah, have a good night, everybody. I'll catch you later, and yeah, see you later.